Hello friends, today we are going to talk about the religious fast, which is the Ramadan fasting. Ramadan fasting is strictly observed by Muslims and it carries on for over a month, where the fasting on a daily basis is from dawn until sunset. So essentially from sunrise to sunset there is no food consumed. In fact, there is no water even that is consumed during the daylight hours. The food pattern during Ramzan is usually there are two main meals. You have the sehri, which is a meal which is eaten before sunrise, before you get into the fasting day. And you have the breaking of the fast at sundown, which is done usually with dates and water and followed by a fuller meal, which is called the iftiar, which is further followed by prayers. So the meal is eating mainly with the family or with the local community, and hence there is quite a community understanding, and the kind of food is what will work for everybody. So during these particular meals, typically there is fresh fruits, there is vegetables, there is meat, there is breads, there's cheeses and there's sweets. And of course, alcohol is completely abstained. So hence we can see that the kind of diet that is followed during Ramadan is essentially staying hungry through the day, but eating only in the night. So we need to understand that overall what happens is that it tends to be a very high fat diet. One does need to take into consideration also is the medication, because sometimes, like in the situation of diabetes, where the medications are sometimes given according to the meals, the entire regimen of the medication may be switched or changed to evening because that has to cover the time when the food intake happens. Considering that, we have a few suggestions we would like to make. That there has to be plenty of water and hydration that should be there with soups and salads, which can be done in the iftiar period. One should avoid the caffeinated drinks in the night also, because it may land up that you may need to frequently visit the bathroom. It may also lead to further dehydration because there is no other intake of even water during the day. So any fizzy drinks with sugar will also only add calories to the diet. So the energy has to be replenished by a healthy, balanced diet in that iftiar period. One should incorporate plenty of vegetables to provide vitamins and nutrients, should choose whole grains instead of using very fatty foods to give the energy as well as the fiber, because the entire system of the body changes. One can enjoy the lean meats, which can be baked or grilled, which can be chicken or fish. So you get a healthy portion of your protein even during the iftiar. So when you have a very light suhoor, which is the one that you have just before you go into the fast, you need to take into consideration for elder people, for adolescents, for pregnant women, for nursing mothers, that if they choose to fast, it should be done only under medical supervision so that they can have a very healthy Ramadan fasting and their health should not be affected. We also need to know, and as an individual who may be doing Ramadan fasting, is to avoid very heavy sweets and to limit the salt intake in that iftiar period, because usually you will have that happening while you're eating in the night, and obviously there's a craving because you've been hungry the whole day and been fasting the whole day. So please avoid very high sugar syrup or very high sugary foods. What can do instead is incorporate the seasonal fruits and make that kind of a dessert in the iftar period. The food also need not be cooked with a method of frying, but it can be in fact cooked by baking, steaming or stir frying or even air frying, so that you do not add a lot of oil in the total intake that you're having. When that meal is being prepared, it is important to say that there's a limited amount of salt used, not because of any other reason, but because this concentrated salt could raise the blood pressures while you're eating in the iftiar period, and hence the medications then have to be again looked into. So it's important to enhance the food through herbs and other flavors rather than only salt. Because it is an iftiar period where the eating starts only at night until early morning before dawn, one should eat slowly because you're eating at a very different time of the day than you're usually used to. Because having a very heavy meal, and if one then rests or goes to sleep, it may cause a lot of acidity or heartburn. So there should be some activity after eating at this timing of the day in the evenings, and go for a walk preferably, and then you can retire for the day because everybody would have a working day the next day. Thank you for listening in. You can undergo and do a Ramadan fasting in a very healthy manner with healthful and mindful eating. Please take note of all the nutritional advice to do so. Also, I would advise you to talk to your doctor whether you can undertake the fasting and what has to be done with your medication regime, which might need some change.